trade, chat, anal, rupture.
Did somebody say Thunder Fury?
It's basically like Angry Birds. You get 2 3 stars and I go do it again.
Suck it, noobs.
No, I never want to do it.
I'm just gonna shut up.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Server Restart In. It's a World of Warcraft podcast with 3 opinionated players like to get together to discuss their thoughts and opinions about the state of the game. My name is Jim, joined by Kristen.
Hello.
And Brian.
Hello.
And yeah, things are just things.
Things are just things.
Yeah, I don't know. Everything's just kind of petering out in live or retail or whatever you want to call it. People are logging in less and less. There's, raid night, which happens or doesn't happen, and it's just, things are just kind of stagnating right now. But I guess we still don't really have an estimated release date for 9.1, but there are definitely things being done because it is, the PTR is getting updated pretty regularly. There was an interview recently with the game director, Ian Hezekiah. He mentioned that this is like the first real thing, like content-wise, that they have worked on from home in its entirety.
Right.
Like, because they had started Shadowlands while everybody was in the office, but, finished it from home because of, the current pandemic and all that stuff. But this is, like, really, like, the first start-to-finish type thing that they have done. And I don't know if it was, like, complete start. Maybe it was just development start, because they had to have some stuff roughed out.
I thought he said it was the full cycle
yeah.
of work from home, yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Which gives you an interesting idea of their tail time on content releasing. So I would have thought, had I, guessed, I would have thought they probably would have started earlier than that. That cycle would be a little bit longer. So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. And I get it. And I mean, it makes sense. Everybody's, been experiencing difficulties in adjusting to the current state of things, some more than others. And there is definitely a real world impact on things that people tend to take for granted.
Yeah.
If you look around at the forums, people, just really are just blind, I guess, to the fact that shit's going on and things are different, and you can't expect things to be the same as they were because there's no way they can, and it's just like, not only that, I don't know if it was right around Shadowlands release or whatever, but like, are they based in Irvine, California?
I don't know.
I think they are. There was some issues, though, where the wildfires that were out there were getting pretty close to their HQ and all that stuff. So, I mean, not only do they have to deal with viruses, they have to deal with Mother Nature getting pissed at them. And, it's just...
Well, you think the fires would cancel out COVID.
Well,
if it burns enough stuff.
Right?
It may have, but, everybody... And I don't think anybody was technically at the office except for possibly essential personnel, which I don't know what that looks like in a game developing company. But I mean, obviously there's got to be some things. People got to go check on the physical machines and whatnot. But so luckily there wouldn't have been an issue had they had to evacuate, as far as like human life is concerned. But unless they have everything backed up off site, things could have just been pretty bad for a while, which I think they do, or I think they have other servers and all that. I'm sure they back things up. I mean, especially now, I mean, you go back 20, 30 years and you look at all these games that are being remade and how many of them, like, they can't find the source code for anymore. You know, like the Forgotten Realms, Dungeons & Dragons games like Baldur's Gate and all that stuff. It's like they've all gotten, you know, enhanced editions except for, I want to say Icewind Dale or Icewind Dale 2, because nobody has the source code for it. So
there's also a lot of licensing issues for older games like that where they were originally published by somebody else.
Yeah, there's that. I was more so just talking about just like the paradigm of like backing stuff up, like, and actually keeping repositories, not necessarily. But I mean, that's another thing too, is licensing affects that kind of stuff all the time. But you know, that's not really that's neither here nor there, I think. But so, yep, I decided that I was going to actually do something I don't normally do, and I installed the PTR. Normally, I try to avoid things that are potential spoilers for the story and all that stuff. So, after listening to the interview, I got a little bit interested in the new mechanics for Torghast. So, I downloaded it and went and they got a couple of NPCs one that'll take you straight to the jailer and one that'll take you straight to the not the jailer, I'm sorry, the rune carver.
Sweet.
Wow.
And the other one at the rune carver takes you back to Oribos, and like they're both Tauren, and they both Tauren Death Knights, and like the one in the rune carver's cell is called like Oriboritar and or something like that, and the one up in Oribos has a similar name, which is pretty funny. But their like guild is like servant of the jailer, which doesn't make any sense. But you know, whatever. But you know, so they put in all these shortcuts, and so he takes you there, and I'm like trying to figure out where this new talent tree system they have is. So, okay, so let's step back a little bit. So, among some of the changes are they have added 4 new layers, so it goes up to 12. And it seems that, I don't know if it's either at 8. I think it's starting at 8. There's a new currency you get called Soul Cinders, which are for the next level or next tier of legendaries or whatever. You still get Soul Ash, but you also start to accrue Soul Cinders. So it's just a new currency for new stuff. So you can still get stuff to make new ones if you want, you know, at lower levels, or, you know, upgrade existing ones. There is a new, I guess, ranking system. So to unlock the next layer, you have to, and they don't really have a good name for it yet, so they're calling them gems. But you have to get like a 4 out of 5 to unlock the next layer. So it takes a little bit.
Is that something you can actively see while you're playing it? Like how many you have?
No. It's based, so I don't think so, because I think at the end it tallies up a bunch of stuff. So there's 2 main ways of getting a score that's higher. It's completion versus speed. So you can speed run it and, you know, get the high things for time, or you can kill all the enemies, get all the souls, basically clear the stuff. Or as, I don't know how advantageous it is, like some of the ones I had like a 98% clear, and I know I didn't get some of the trap souls or whatever, so I don't know if that ties into it. But you also have not a power system, but it's called Empowered, and it's basically like your hot streak. So the more enemies you kill, the more it fills this bar up, and it's over on like the objectives pane, and it has a marker in there, which I'm assuming is the target level for that layer. I'm assuming, I don't know, or it's what can Battle Cat, be quiet. It's what considers you to be empowered, because I think when you get it up, there's certain benefits you get later for being empowered. But so I think
it says you get a bonus to your movement speed and haste.
well, that's just one. That's one thing. That's
I
one
see.
of the talents. I just mean in general. So that's like your empowerment bar, but it's also like the more you kill or the faster you kill things, the more that gets up. So you have to do, if you're going to clear everything, I found that you have to do a pretty, not like speed run type thing, but you have to
Go pretty quick.
not dawdle. You can't sit there and just slowly pull packs apart and that kind of stuff, because that will probably, which I haven't tried. I mean, I don't have any, it's just me right now, so I don't like have CC or anything like that. And I don't know if, I think your empowerment goes up when you kill a mob. But so it took me a few tries to unlock layer 9.
See,
Go ahead.
I don't like that. That makes his statement seem disingenuous. Like, oh, you can either go at a moderate pace and find everything, or you can go fast. Well, no, now it's just you have to go fast. And
it's not as fast. I mean, moderate does mean
moderate means moderate. It does not mean okay, keep going. It's moderate.
A moderate pace is not just walking; it's walking quickly.
Sure, but
So
that's
it's
walking quickly, not running through
not-
the mobs. So you can't pull
I
mob
didn't
packs. Like you can't
Well,
pull.
I don't know.
Packs.
I don't know if that. So again, it all probably plays around this empowerment bar, and being by myself with not hardly any CC, I don't know what the ramifications are for slowly killing mobs, but consistently killing them, even if it's just one pack at a time. If that's enough to either keep it up or build it up to a point where it considers that. So I mean, there's some definite things that need to be looked at as far as how can you achieve this, with different game styles.
Right.
And
How far under the recommended thing were you, or were you not?
layer 9 is recommended eye level is 210, and I think I'm 213. So 8 was like 200 or something like that. But at the end, and there's only 5 floors.
Yeah.
They took out a floor.
They're like, you don't need that floor.
So the boss
is on five.
Yeah. Which I don't understand at all. But, I mean, whatever. Maybe it's their one.
You still pause on 3?
Yes. So on 3, your empowerment bar doesn't degrade. And on floor 5, I believe, at first it starts to degrade. But I think when you enter into the bubble for the vendor, it stops it. So I think you have a reprieve, because I didn't realize this at first. So I was like buying my orbs and quickly throwing them down and just picking talents and running in to try and, maximize my stuff. And, but I think it does pause it. And maybe that was a change. I don't know. But I think what they're trying to do is make the layers shorter to promote more incentive to replay them. Right? Because I went and did, like, it took me like 3 or 4 times to get a 4 on layer 8 or whatever. Or I did, a couple on layer 8 and then did a couple on layer 9 and didn't feel bad doing it, because now I believe you still get rewards. But so that's the other thing too, is like when you were talking about that one empowerment or that blessing. So they've added a talent tree similar to the Horrific Visions talent tree, where you can unlock bonuses for Torghast. There's one, and some of them have multiple ranks, some of them have 1 rank. And as you clear the layers, you will get what they're calling right now like Torghast knowledge points or something like that. And I think getting like a 4 on an 8, I got like 40, right? And I think a 4 on a 1 got me like 13, because I went and tried to see if I could 5 gem a 1, and I didn't. And I don't know if I missed a bunch of stuff or what, because some of them don't necessarily, some of the layouts kind of suck because you go around and have to backtrack. So, but I think that's where this talent tree is going to come into play, because I didn't have it at first. And I'm like, where is this thing? So I looked it up and like, oh, you eventually get a, what are they? Not Eternals, the broker. There's eventually a broker in there with a quest that when you finish, you take this cube to the jailer. And it's, it's your typical puzzle box type thing, kind of like, from the one Hellraiser movie, your, shitty sin box or whatever. But you click on it and it's got, all these rows, and there's ones that will reduce the amount of torments, because that's another thing they added. Instead of like, Soul Forge just had that fire debuff that kept building up as you went up. Now they're going to have like random torments, more like Mythic Plus, where you'll have some of the lower ones will only have one torment, and then as you go up, they'll have like 2, 3, or 4. And then there's some talents in this tree that will reduce the number of starting ones. I think either up to 2, so you can have them, which is nice. There's some that reduce the decay of your empowerment bar, so that way if you have time between packs, you're not going to lose as much of your empowerment as you would previously. So there's that. There's ones where you get blessings, and one of the blessings is while you're empowered, you get like 5% movement speed and something else. But there's different ones. One of them is like I started with Obliate Armor or whatever the fuck that shit is. I don't even know what the hell that damn thing is. But, so there's different things that are in there. And I think that as you go, there's now this incentive to run Torghast more, to fill this thing up, to get more powerful in Torghast, kind of like Horrific Visions were. It's like you had to build up and build your tree up so that you could start doing your mask runs, and so that you could eventually do your 5 mask runs, right? So it's like it's going to be more of a journey like that. And I ran into an elite mob in there who dropped an item that was a reward placeholder. So I don't know if there's going to be more stuff to get out of Torghast now, like randomly, like whether it's cosmetic or pets or.
I was about to say, like all that work, all that input into this feature, and in the end, it's still just legendary currency.
No, they did make it sound like they want to put more stuff into it. Like in the interview, they made it sound like they were not adverse to putting in more rewards.
Good.
Yeah, it was that was good to hear. It definitely it was a good interview, but again, it was an interview designed to build up hype for the next patch. So of course they're gonna Jim went on and started playing the PTR, and he was like, it was frustrating to me. Like, we generally clear it pretty quickly, but still, I hate the speedrun thing. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I hate how everything has a goddamn timer. Like, that is not engaging gameplay. All that is making you go fast. Well, I don't want to go fast. I want to take my time.
Modern design.
It's terrible. It is terrible. I want to take my time and explore the goddamn dungeon. And if I want to spend 5 minutes going out of my way to look in a little goddamn crevice for something, let me do that. Screw you with your stupid timer.
It's not going to not let you do that. You're just not going to unlock the next difficulty level because...
Sure, so you're not going to progress because you want to explore. Like, that feels bad, That does not feel like good game design to me.
It did not feel bad when I was doing it.
So when you didn't unlock the next tier...
No, I didn't mind going back because I'm still getting things. Like, I'm still getting the stuff to fill out my talent tree, right? So it's not like I'm just... So before, once you got your Soul Ash and your... Soul Cinders, right? That's like a once. Is it a week that you get those, or is it a day? Once a week.
Soul Ash once a week.
Yeah, so that's like you got your Soul Ash and your Soul Cinders. You don't get that anymore, right? I get that that's their gating system for legendaries, whatever, but you still get the the talent point currency, so you're still getting stuff, so it doesn't feel like it's wasted. So if they didn't have anything like that in there, and it's just you banging your head against the wall, not being able to unlock the next layer, and the only way you can get more power is to go out and farm gear somewhere else, that would have felt like shit. But the fact that I can go in there and do this stuff and then go up my talent tree a little bit and get just a little bit more powerful in there, whether it's just my shit decays a little bit slower or I have less debuffs or more buffs or something like that. There was one that's like most of the time it automatically loots the mobs. So you don't have to stop and loot. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's nice.
So I'm still getting progression, but it's not, just like, well, you beat it, so just move on. It's, no, let's have you beat it with, and they don't feel damning. It's not like you go in and
It's basically like Angry Birds. You get 2 3 stars and I go do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or Candy Crush or any of those games that have a ranking thing.
Lord have mercy.
But this still...
Do we pay $15 for this, right? A month? I think that's what we pay.
Yeah.
You don't have to play Torghast. But
you do.
Collectively, we pay $45 a month in order to help do research for this podcast.
Yes. Yes. Very good.
That is
true. But again, just I didn't feel like I did one this morning before we came on just to kind of, go through and check some things out or whatever. I tried doing a 1 just to see if I was just going to blow through it and get a 5. Well, I got a 4, but I don't know if I missed something. So like if you're going to do the completionist route, you have to like get everything, and it's just, and that's another thing that I don't like right now, which I'm gonna have to put feedback in, is that at the end, it pops up the top and says, oh, here's your rank, blah, blah, blah. Right click to see details. You right click, it shows it details? It shows like how your score is meted out and all that stuff and how many points you got, based on like their scoring system. It shows it to you. And then like 2 seconds later, it just disappears. And I'm just like, it's like if I want to sit there and spend some time to look at this, I shouldn't have to take a screenshot,
right,
to do it. And I tried to take a screenshot and I missed.
Oh, no.
And so it went away. I'm like, well, I don't have time to do it before we record. But so there is a definitive way for doing it. So you can see it's like, oh, well, I missed a few things somewhere, and it's just like, if you're going to go the exploring route, you probably have to get everything. Like if you're going to commit to that, commit to it. But again, moderate tempo or moderate pace, obviously that has different meanings to different people, but it's not going to be nearly as fast as if you just run straight to the end boss and blow through.
Sure, but there's a limited amount of classes that can do that. Demon Hunters.
That's interesting. I wonder if they'll balance that out.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Rogues.
When I went in
Druids.
to, like, I did a layer 8 and unlocked a 9, I went in there and part of it too is going to be your powers, right? So I got some pretty decent powers and all of a sudden things were just dying really quick. So something happened somewhere, whether either it was putting a new talent
I bet
in.
you they probably did a little bit more like generalizing those powers, at least so everybody has a chance to obliterate stuff like warriors did.
Well, no, it wasn't even that. It was like I got super strain, and I think chains of ice, which increased frost damage, or like the one of the things or whatever. Anyway, but like stuff started to go down a lot faster than it was before, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what I did unless it was just adding a new thing in there. So, but you can do that. I mean, it's like half an hour maybe to do this. You know what I mean? And that's like, so you can build that currency up pretty quick. And the nice thing is there is a cap on it, but the cap on this currency is 2 million, and you're only getting like at layer 8 like 40. So
Oh my god!
It's like, yeah. So what are we talking about? 50,000 times at layer 8. If you did 50,000 layer 8, you can max it out. So.
And then you can buy some green armor.
Yeah, right.
But like, so I don't mind these changes. They don't feel bad. And, it's like I don't have to worry about dying, even though I did die one time and I was really pissed. But I know that that's going to probably affect the score due to time.
So the talent thing, you buy the stuff, and you just always have it, right? Can you respec those talent things, or is it like the?
It's like horrific visions. You just start filling them out, and it's like
so you just go down the list and
right. Some of them unlock when you have so many points into the thing as a whole. It's not like the old talent trees where sometimes you had to get ranks in one to unlock a specific one. Now it's just you just have to have X number of knowledge points in the system as a whole.
Okay.
And I would highly recommend reading through them and before you start dumping shit in, because like I think the first one is like 20 and then it's like 60. So some like when they have multiple ranks, so it's going to take a little bit. So you probably want to kind of plan it out,
sure,
so that okay, am I improving my chances to get better?
Progress, yeah.
And it's I want to say 12 was 235 for like item level recommendation. So I probably won't ever get up to that in the PTR. But it's just, I don't know.
They don't have gear you can use?
I have no idea. I didn't even look.
I wouldn't imagine.
No.
Usually
that's
thing.
usually in a beta thing. Is that what we said? Yeah, that's more of a beta thing. Because they want you to try the systems out at all the different levels. Whereas here, it's like they're not asking you to try them. They're just putting it out there for some general testing. I had something else that I wanted to say about 9-1, and I forgot what it was. Fuck.
Based on what they were talking about, I don't see it coming out until June.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a while, and especially because, like they said, they're working from home and all that stuff, and they don't want to release it until it's ready, obviously. And, with these new systems going in, they are obviously wanting people to go in and do it and give feedback on it, like the Torghast. I think that's what the other thing is that I think in 9.1 they're going to give your alts the ability to skip up to current content, so you won't have to do your Covenant storyline, the first whatever chapters. You won't have to do the Torghast ones where you go rescue Jaina and all that stuff. All that stuff is going to be skippable, and I don't know if that's just something in the PTR or if that's something that's going to make it to live. It would be neat if they made it to live because, obviously you have to have one character that made it through, and I don't know if that's each Covenant story or just a Covenant story. Like, I wouldn't do it on a new Covenant because I'd want to experience that story because I haven't done them all. But I could see if you were making a character for, like, if I made a new, or like, if I pick, 3 more DKs out of my 12 to go Necrolord, I wouldn't want to have to go through all that stuff, and because they will. I'll have, 2 more, 3 DKs in each because there's 4. Math is hard. But, and it's just like, so that's a nice quality of life thing I think that's going in, because then, you can make an alt if you want to and jump right back into the current stuff and not have to slog through, a week or 2 of building up your renown and doing the campaign stuff, which you could probably do the campaign stuff pretty quick. But what else? I thought there was some other stuff.
Is there a new area for Torghast too?
So there's supposedly new wings, but the ones that were out were Upper Reaches and Soul Forge right now. So if you look on the map currently, I don't know in the PTR if it showed anything. But so there's supposed to be new wings. I don't know. I didn't see anything. There's supposed to be new wings and new traps and new mobs and all that other stuff. and maybe they're not in there yet because they don't want them to be spoiled. I don't know. But it doesn't feel bad. Like I said, I didn't feel bad going in and doing a few of them in a row. It's obviously not like I haven't looked and seen what Twisting Corridors is like, but I don't have to do Twisting Corridors ever again.
Yeah.
I
I'm
never
kind
wanna
of
do it.
sad that with the next patch, it's just not even going to matter that we did it. Like, I mean, it's good.
Oh, are they adding mounts and everything to
Yeah, mounts to the Maw, so it's like, okay. I mean,
It's
I
nice
get
now,
it.
though, because I started working on my warrior, and I went into the Maw, and I'm doing, like, the Maw starting stuff, and I'm, like, jumping around, and I'm, like, I mount up and run by a bunch of people. I'm like, suck it, noobs!
Mall?
Because I can mount, and they can't, and I was just like, ha, 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 ha. So it's got a little bit of...
Oh, my God.
And, I mean,
you
you still have to do the story stuff to be able to do it, so... I mean, I guess if you're high enough to do the 8th layer of Twisting Corridors, you're probably caught up with the story. But
Is the new zone available in the PTR?
I would assume so because it's part of the story. But I haven't done it. Like I said, I tend to shy away from that. But maybe for the sake of content, I will stop. So that because I don't know.
It's no big deal. I think my curiosity is
It's on the map.
lore. Let me say lore wise, how does Korthia play into the mall and stuff, and how is that related?
Yeah, I don't know yet. Like I said, I haven't gone through that stuff. I might, go through and see, but that's a big might.
right?
What else? I'm trying to think. Oh, they're bringing back class set pieces, or class sets, tier sets, and whatever.
Yeah. I mean, they said that they were going to be doing
Yeah,
that.
but I
Like,
mean-
I don't know why, like, they made such a big deal about it in, like, Preach's interview. Like, they'd already said that they were going to be having
They were bringing
it.
back tier sets, right?
Yeah.
But this is class sets.
Well, the tier set was
Typically are class sets.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna shut up. Not in BFA they weren't.
No, in BFA they weren't tier sets. They were just leather
Set.
wearers. They were just cloth wearers. Like everybody had the same set.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
It was dumb. I mean,
I don't want
I
to
get
look
it.
like a stupid warrior.
It saved them a crap ton of art resources, but I'm going to tell you right now, the art team is carrying this game. And so I feel like they really need to lean more in to their art and put more stuff in to development of their art stuff because the art team is knocking it out of the park. Like
there is some nice looking stuff in there.
yeah, even the zones and everything. I mean, they're just even the Dr. Seuss zone. Like they're
That's one thing that you're gonna hate, Brian. Is there's gonna be a lot of the main story stuff is gonna be in
Night
Ardenweald.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're gonna go after the Winter Queen for her key, right? So
The Dairy Queen?
yeah, the Dairy Queen. But speaking of artwork and all this other stuff, this doesn't relate to it at all. But in Torghast, there was this elite mob that it's a mob that turns into another mob, and it looks like a dreadlord, but it looks like a dreadlord with furry legs. Like almost if you were to take, because most dreadlords, they have like that satyr bottom. This was more satyr-ish, where it had it was actually like the goat half or whatever. He still had the wings, still similar, and he was also casting Carrion Swarm. So it's a very iconic, what was the dude in Night Palace?
Oh yeah.
Tychon? Was it Tychondrius? The Dreadlord that we fight in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tychondrius.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he would cast that, and it's like Carrion Swarm is really along there. I mean, and they do share some similarities with the the Stone Generals or whatever. So, because that gargoyle type look. But this, I'm pretty sure, was either a primitive Dreadlord. It was almost like a caveman version of a Dreadlord, if you think about it. not as refined as the ones we see. You know,
Right.
don't laugh at me. It's a very good analogy.
Me, Dreadlord. Bonk.
But yeah, so it was good artwork, and I think that that's actually going to be a major theme in the next patch. Anyway, is Dreadlord stuff. You know, just from some headlines and stuff that I've seen. I'm trying not to like watch other people's videos anymore about stuff that is like their suppositions, because I don't necessarily. I mean, it's great to hear all that stuff, but I don't want to let that stuff influence my thoughts
Right.
and my suppositions. And you know, because like it's nice to sit here and try and come up with things that we think might be, you know, as opposed to being like, yeah, so and so had a great idea, or did I say idea? God damn it!
It's okay.
You goddamn ideas.
Nobody
Okay.
would have probably mentioned it. You know.
You know, I'm starved for content, so I got to make fun of myself.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
I gotcha.
there's also talk. You know, I think they were asked about BC and 9.1 releases. I'm pretty sure that they've said that they don't want to release them at the same time.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I don't know which one we're going to get first.
BC.
I think so. I think
Yeah, I
think
would think
TBC
so too.
would be, because again, they're just
Yeah.
taking old code they already have, converting it to the new system and putting it in. They're not like, I mean, they are reworking some things, but for the most part, it's still the Burning Crusade. It's a pre-existing game.
I think also too, like it may buy them at least a month or so of where people don't have an expectation for 9.1 to come out.
Yeah.
So,
well, it'll give people something to do, and it's like, hey,
well,
squirrel.
even if it does or doesn't, it at least buys them time to say, hey, we released this bit of content just to help.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah. I
No.
agree.
Yeah, and it sucks that they have to do that, especially again, like we talked about earlier, the way things are right now. It's like people are so fervently like, no, you need to deliver this. We expect this. You have to live up to our expectation. We pay your salary, that kind of shit, you know. And it's just like, you do, but you also have to understand that
It's true to a certain point, though.
it is true to a certain point. But you know, the fact that he came out and said is, you know, this is the first full content cycle that we've done from home. So there's going to be some inherent challenges on that. You know,
I think the biggest issue in their case, and it's like we said before, their issue right now is open communication. Like they just need better. Give the players the realistic point of view. We have struggled, or we are under the bar that we've set in the past, and we're still trying to meet that same level of quality. Therefore, the timeline is stretching further, you know, and we would like to release this sooner, but it just is what it is. And this happens to be a bigger content patch than previous 0.1s in the past. And we're, I don't know, shooting for 6 months or something, right? I could respect that. Like,
yeah,
it's no big deal. Like,
you're right. I mean, there is a level of communication that is there, and then there's like stuff that's not, you know, and it's just like they're either choosing to not communicate certain things that maybe they should, like that, you know, and it's just like, but it's hard.
you shouldn't assume that just because you have people paying a subscription that they're happy, because like,
Yeah.
chances are, like in our case, like half of us are paying our subscriptions and hardly playing, and
Yep.
you know,
Which
I mean, I've played more classic than I have retail lately, but even still, I'm not getting the value out of it, in my opinion, currently.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's fine for me, but for a lot of people, it may not be. And if they're making their level of communication, if they're basing that on, you know, the activity of subscriptions or logins or whatever it may be, it may be thrown off just by the fact that people are in, you know, hurry up and wait mode, and
Yeah.
it may not be fully representative of what, you know, the actual feeling is. So, not to mention that, you know, life is still very much a work from home situation in all aspects, and people are probably just not turning their stuff off because they want to jump on every so often. So it's a weird situation across the board.
That
I
sounds
think
like a perspective from personal experience, Brian.
maybe.
I just don't ever log out, so I can just jump right back in.
Oh, yeah.
But no, you're right, and it's just if they were to just talk more, just a little more insight to the progress or into the process, and
they just have to be realistic. I mean, who cares? Like if you want to gauge in with your gaming community, right? Just be straight up like open and honest. Stop trying to make it so hidden and official. And then go through the same stupid channels of like, oh, well, let's hype it up through a Twitch streamer or some shit like that. And we'll have a realistic interview. Or you could just be like Ghostcrawler used to do and just straight up be blatantly honest on Twitter or on the forums or something.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think that's, yeah, you're right. I think that they need to go back to just, hey, this is what's going on. This is how it is. No fluff, no hype pieces or whatever. And and it's like, I don't know if this is related to Activision or just
it has to be,
or, just like, but I'm trying to think of a game where the developers are like a big game, where the developers are constantly talking with, basically doing that. And I don't know of any.
And maybe not. I mean, it's more of a culture, though. I think they are more aligned to, or at least they talk about they're aligned to. You know what I mean? Like grassroots, small gaming community, gaming people grew this company. Okay, well then you should align more to that community in general to support your games from here on out. Because if you treat it like the traditional publisher model, right, where you just throw the game out the door and expect it to live on, I'm sorry, you're bound to fail. Like at this point, there are plenty of active, even indie games, which may not be one for one with a retail AAA MMO. Even they're seeing extreme success in having that open communication, right, and continuing development through that. So. And I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad that like they're already getting feedback from players on what they like and what they don't like and implementing a certain percentage of that into the game in certain aspects. So, continue to work on like you could not have a better situation where people pay you money and tell you what they want the most.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you just have to kind of mold your pieces around that. Like, well, you got a great situation. All you got to do is just exercise that. Yeah. And I think people want to know more about how things are going and what to expect, because I don't think anybody really expects, if we got new content every 6 months, I don't think that's a bad thing. If we had a case like where, like consider TBC, right? The first tier drops 3 raids. And there's a slew of dungeons. Gosh, there's like what, 2 to 3 dungeons per zone? Maybe not. 3.
2. Hellfire has 1,
3.
2, 3. Yep.
Hellfire, Blood Furnace, and
there's like 3 down in Zangarmarsh, right? There's Mana Tombs.
Mana Tombs, Slave Pins, and Steam Vaults.
Yeah.
There's Zanger? No, not Zanger.
Zanger.
Oh my, what's the
Stone Talon? No, Blade's Edge. Are there dungeons up in Blade's Edge? There's Gruul's Lairs up there, but I don't know if there's a dungeon.
No, there's not dungeons up there.
There are a bunch of dungeons in
Terror
Netherspite.
Terracar Forest has
like
Akudan or whatever.
Akudan.
Is it 3 or 4?
It's 3 or 4. Yeah, it's and a lot. It's
Mana Tombs, something Crypts,
and
Shadow
Vault.
Sethicals. Yeah.
And then Shadow Moon Valley. Does it have any?
Shadow Moon Valley doesn't have any. It has the Black Temple. That's why I think.
I don't think that one. I don't think Blade's Edge does. But then you got the ones up by
Tempest Keep.
Tempest Keep.
Yeah. Tempest Keep.
There's 3 there too.
Yeah. They really.
Botanica. Botanica, Mechanar,
Yeah.
Oh,
The
that's the
Mechanar-
slave ship. Okay, that's what I was thinking of.
Botana, Mechanar, and the
Something.
one that was a pain in the ass.
Which one was it?
Yeah.
Mana Storm dude was there in the very
Right.
end of it.
That's the one with that's the slave ship, right? The prison. Does it start with an A?
Yeah.
Oh, with
That's not Mechanar?
Mm-mm.
the Skedis one, like the
No, it's the one with the stupid shit at the beginning with the worms that follow you. You have to run through.
Yeah.
And it's got the two
Yep,
demons
yep.
that hate each other.
Yeah,
And like he's happy
yeah.
when you kill the lady or whatever, or vice versa.
Yeah.
That's 13.
Yeah.
Unless we're missing some, that's at least 13.
And they were hard. They were your progression if you weren't raiding.
Yeah. And even heroic. And then you had heroic versions as well. So there's a lot of content, when the game first came out. And
Yeah.
that kept everything engaged because you even, or at least for us, we played Kara and then eventually walked into Magtheridon's lair and Gruul's lair.
Yeah.
Magtheridon's whatever. You know what I mean? So we
Same.
kind of had there was a little bit of a progression system there between raids, and it got you something a little bit different. In the case now, like if they had just dropped like an off the path raid, the cycle that we could have jumped into
Almost
or
like
progressed from or something,
like Halls of Valor. Not Halls of Valor, but the
Yeah.
Helheim ones.
Trial of Valor. Yeah.
Trial of Valor.
Yeah.
Or what was some of the other ones we had? The stupid 2-boss one in BFA that is the one with the the one that everybody hated.
Yeah.
Yep. Just stuff like that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right? It gives us a little something else to do, a little bit more progression to fight for, all that stuff. The problem now is that they just kind of, you wrote enough content for about 3 to 4 months, if that, and now you expect people to stick around, and you don't have a persistent world per se that gives you the ability to live that way. You know what I mean? And hang out and make your own content. So you're left with running Torghast and PvP and all these little dungeons or Mythic Plus or something. And, a lot of that just after so long,
It gets old.
just burns out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, and I'm not saying that the new Torghast thing isn't going to get old quick. But like initially it doesn't necessarily feel like that. But I mean, it's just like, but you're right. Like, great, you spent all this time on the main core story, but where's all our side stories? Where's like something like an in-depth quest line that's like 50 quests for like just some stupid side story thing? And so I was on Classic last night and was talking with somebody, from our guild that's over there has been playing, and just like, she was talking about how quests take so long and all that stuff. I'm like, and you have to actually read the text and all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I do miss that. I miss quests being involved.
Yeah.
I don't, getting a quest that puts a blue marker on your thing, that's great. It's like I go there, I know exactly what I'm doing. Sometimes the only time that's an issue is if there's a cave and it's like you're trying to figure out how to get into the cave.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's frustrating because they're not even giving you the accurate way to get to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I want to have to actually, because they make it so easy to just skip through your quest text and just accept the quest, go do it, accept the quest, go do it, accept the quest, go do it. What the hell did I just do? Why did I do this?
Yep.
That's gone. And, just having that, like, I'm playing an undead rogue, and I've got, like, the fucking quest to go find the dude that walks between Silver Pine and Undercity. And you have to, like, get his death guard thing or whatever from him. And at first I'm like, oh, that'd be easy. I just sap him and pickpocket him and all that stuff. It's like, no, you have to actually talk to him and tell him to hand it over. And he was 3 levels above me, and he just destroyed me because, that's how Classic was. You have to really be prepared. And I wasn't. So I was just like, okay. But, like, I remember doing this quest on my Warlock back in, it was either during BC, it had to be BC, and it was the one where you get, like, you're running around collecting shit to make this shirt or this robe or whatever. And I'm pretty sure I still have it. But it was just like that, because that quest line's not in there anymore. But, like, that was a pain in the ass. And luckily I had Kristen to help me. But, you know, it's just like, it's one of those things that's just like, you're doing all this stuff and you have to go out and just, if you don't pay attention, you don't know where the fuck you're going. And you just running around with your head cut off. But, like, having to read, having to pay attention to it, having to...
And it's an adventure at that point, because then you gotta, like, look out for mobs so you don't die. You gotta manage a lot more of your health and mana. Like, it is actual adventure when you go on a quest.
Well,
that's what I like about it.
You're definitely more engaged, you know.
Like, yeah, like where now you're not. It's just like, oh, just go out and get the stuff from here, whether it's from killing things or, you know, not killing things, but just basically kill everything in your way.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no, okay, well, let me wait for this to pat through. There's no, you know.
Yeah, there's no strategy involved in the game anymore.
God,
it's just all straight up, and I dislike that. I like if I
Gosh, can you imagine the game now with those types of mechanics though?
Yeah, but
I mean, I feel like the leveling process would have been 4 times longer for sure.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the additional stuff like the chest, getting to the world boss, all these things would be almost impossible, but it's creating that level of content, whether people like it or not. You know what I mean? I can see where it gets frustrating.
Yeah.
But holy cow, that's just thinking about that perspective is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, give me something to do where, you know, it's like, oh, no, that's not what I was even going to say. What the fuck? They should put shit in the game, in the world, that, like, you know, goofy shit, too. And, like, you know, if it's more advantageous to stealth through something, put some, and you're not
put
a
mechanic in there
and you're not a
so
rogue,
you can do it.
put world items in. Oh, here's a barrel. Dump the barrel out, climb inside, and pull, like, a solid snake shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just like,
Yeah.
And it lasts for...
You know what's funny is they did a lot of that with the Cataclysm revamp.
Yeah.
And even in I guess the Death Knight starting area, you know, you had where you had to pretend to be a tree in order for the guy to walk by.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that.
I mean, just more stuff normal, because
no, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
In Classic, you could walk up to like 9 out of 10 barrels and open them, and there would be like water in them, or you'd have more chests lying around with useful shit. And now it's just like nothing's useful anymore. Everything's just vendor trash.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to do anything. Everything that's worth getting, you either get from dungeons or raids or whatever. There's just no impetus to go out there and just like stop and smell the corpse flowers or whatever if you're in Maldraxxus, you know. But it's just like, we're not a part of this world. We're just like demigods in this world, and everything is just there for us to slaughter.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I would rather, I really would, you know, and it's just like, sure, way back when it was a pain in the ass and all that stuff, and it's just like, I did end up getting like the add-ons that would put the blue markers on the map and all that stuff. You know, it's like, I did do that. But, you know, I think I would like, maybe not quite as intense as it was, but something more like that, where it's like, okay, stop putting shit out there to do. Make people fucking read, you know? And if they're doing this text-to-speech stuff, you know, maybe they can start doing that again, because maybe that was part of it. Maybe, you know, it was easier to put visual indicators on there, and now maybe there's people that don't read so good, and, you know, you put in a text-to-speech and they'll say it, you know, but then that's a lot of voice acting line. Well, no, I guess if you do text-to-speech, it could just be like the same voice.
It would be robotic.
You need to go kill 15 Quillborg because they have taken Menkrik's wife captive.
Trade, chat, anal, rupture.
Yeah. Did somebody say Thunder Fury?
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do like it. It takes a lot longer, and I will admit that right now my attention span is such that I don't really want to hunker down and do a lot of it because it's not as rewarding.
Yeah.
But it is rewarding in the end, but it's not immediate rewards, and I'm just a lazy old man, and I just want, all that stuff. But I still miss it. I still miss the old school style of shit. And there's got to be a better blend of it than what we have now.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to go ahead and end today. We went and discussed PTR changes for Torghast. And then we just talked about questing and how we miss, this like the feeling of being involved in it. And now it's not quite like that. We talked about development cycles and stuff like that too, and working from home, and just normal shit we babble on about. But anyway, thanks everybody for listening. You can check us out at our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/serverrestartin, or shoot us a tweet at server_restart. And until next week, I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.